What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We're back at the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn today. And today we are here with Marty of Bobaflex. Thank you for your time, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you guys here. I mean, I saw you guys back in 2016 with Orgy, and that was the last time I saw you. I missed the last couple of shows, but it's good to be back.
We've been at it since then.
Yeah. But it's so awesome to have you here. I know that you're working on new music right now, like a direct follow-up to Eloquent Demons. You just want to give a rundown on how the making of everything's been?
It's going really well. We got about 6 songs finished in the bucket. We did another cover, because that seems to be the cool thing to do. After we did the Pink Floyd cover, it was like we have to take a step up. We can't go backwards. So we did something that scared us all pretty much, but it turned out really well. And we just got the tracks back yesterday, so I'm going to tell you what it is. We did Flash Gordon by Queen.
Oh, awesome.
And we kicked the ever-living shit out of it.
Are you allowed to announce it?
I just did.
Yeah,
We're in.
Awesome. Well,
You heard it here first, right?
how do you decide? Because I know you also covered Sound of Silence. You did the Pink Floyd cover. Like, how do you pick? Is it just like selecting a name out of a hat or something like that?
Well, the Sound of Silence thing was kind of a neat story. I was watching some music awards, the Hall of Fame or something like that, and all these bands, all these great bands, U2 and all these bands were playing, and I was like, wow, it's awesome. And then Simon and Garfunkel got up there in front of one microphone and just like put chills all over my body. And I was like, that is a song. Like, if they were my age now, how would they record it? And that's how we decided to do it. And then Disturbed did it, which they did a phenomenal job, but it was time for us to let that go. After Disturbed did it, it's like, okay.
Nevermore did it too.
Yeah. So then we, Tommy and I are huge Pink Floyd fans, so we just kind of pushed our Pink Floyd ways on everyone. So we're doing this, and this is what we're doing. Disturbed has done Sound of Silence. We're forcing Pink Floyd. So that went really well for us. And then once that it was time to do a new cover, it's like you can't go backwards. You've done Simon and Garfunkel, you've done Pink Floyd. Let's take it to the next level and do something that's really challenging and really scary. And Jimmy called me. He's like, let's do Flash Gordon. I was like, are you out of your mind? And he finally talked me into it for about an hour on the phone. And once I said yes, and he hung up and he panicked. He's like, I never thought you would say yes. We got to start working on this right now. So we went to Sweetwater in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they have some pretty incredible studios there. And we took it on, and when we started hitting the vocals, that's when the stress started going away. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna pull this off.
Yeah. And I mean, so many people, like, I've worked in guitar floors forever, and I don't think I worked a single day in my life without hearing Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. So it's good to do something different.
Sweetwater was doing a covers for a cause is what it was called. And they were like, can you do a rock song? It's like everybody else is doing like Britney Spears songs, and one guy did a country song. I was like, can you do a rock song for God's sakes? I was like, yeah, we can. And we came in there and knocked Flash Gordon out of the park, and they were pretty happy about it.
Yeah. Now, with every album that you put out, do you like to experiment with your sound? Because I think you incorporate many different elements in your music. Do you like to experiment with your sound a little bit, or is there kind of like a usual formula or template that you like to follow?
It's 5 guys in the band, and that's how you keep a band together. It's like, what's your idea? What's your idea? Instead of, hey, this is how the songs are going to go, and I write this and that. It's like everybody gets to say what they want to say, and I think it keeps the albums interesting. Instead of, hey, this album sounds cohesive and all sounds the same, which is great. Nothing against that. But our style has always been, when you put the album on, you want to go on a journey, and the first song sounds completely different than the last song. And I feel like that it keeps the album interesting. And we've had a lot of people say that, they put a record on and they don't turn it off.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed your songs have also many different vibes too. Like, "Don't Take My Drugs Away." That song is just so catchy. But then you have songs that are a little more serious that can maybe like relate to people during a darker time. It's fair to say you like to tackle different emotions, or you feel many different emotions in the songwriting, right?
Absolutely. Our songs are always about not good things. Some like drugs. "Mama, Don't Take My Drugs Away" sounds like a party song, but the subject matter is really dark, and everything that we write about is something that's hit real close to home for us. It's either about us or somebody that we know really well. So it's all true stories, and it's usually the things that interest us or the darker side of things. So that's where the inspiration comes from. And I don't think we'll be running out of inspiration soon.
Yeah. I feel really bad that I was drinking now to "Mama, Don't Take My Drugs Away" one time. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's that song, like I said, there's a couple songs where the vibe it seems like a party and like a big happy theme, but the subject matter is always really dark and true stories.
Yeah. Well, what I'm interested in, because you mentioned that it's about your personal life or people you know, can your music still be open to interpretation, or are you actually trying to maybe engage the listener in the story, maybe see things from your point of view?
I think music is always open for interpretation. We've had several people say, I really like the song and this is what it means to me. And I think that's great. And sometimes when I'm writing a song, I feel like this is what the song's about. And then 6 months later, I go, wow, this song is actually about this. And this is what I was feeling at the time. And maybe it's subliminal or subconscious. And it's happened to me several times where like, wow, this song was not at all what I thought I was writing about. It means something totally different to me 6 months to a year later.
Oh, wow. Could somebody's perception of the song maybe change your perspective on your own music? Like, do you feel different about it when somebody tells you what it means to them versus when you first made it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, subliminally, things sneak in there, and you don't realize it at the time. But yeah, people like "I'm Glad You're Dead." We wrote that song as from the Joker from Batman, and as that song went on, we thought, shit, either this is going to be, people are going to hate this song. That's what I thought. It's like it's a catchy song, and so many people related to that song, and we got so many stories of, my stepdad or my uncle, and all these people connected with that song. I had no idea it was going to take off like that. So that was one of the songs that changed for me. I was like, it was a fun romp to me, and then once it was over and it was actually on wax and people started hearing it, I go, it's not a fun romp. It's a dark, dark song, and a lot of people have feelings about it that I didn't see coming.
Do these stories determine at all the arrangements of the music itself, or do you guys need to hear music in order for you to say, okay, let's write about this subject?
The stories start there's no real way that we write music. It's like there's not a process. It's just like we kind of get in the room together. Sometimes I'll write a song completely from the ground up, or Jimmy or Tommy or Sean or something like that. But usually we get together and it starts out with subject matter. Like I want to write a song about this, and it kind of dictates the riff and the feel and all that stuff. So it's usually the subject matter starts first.
Do you try to execute the material live as people would hear it on the album, or do you try to maybe make the live presence a little bit different than what people would get from listening to you?
Basically in the studio we were playing live. So what you get on the record is what you get live. There's not we're not using tracks, we're not doing any crazy studio magic. It's like we started doing that a lot more in the later records. It's like, this is what you get. This is the band. Instead of 7 guitars on the chorus, it's like my guitar, Jake's guitar, and we do have 4 vocalists, so we get away with that. Yeah, basically what you're hearing on the record is what we sound like live, just a little bit louder, and a lot cooler hair.
Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome. That should be your slogan, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one other question I'm curious about is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys originally are from Columbus, Ohio, right?
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, actually, we are. That's hence the redneck accent.
I interviewed Byzantine from.
Good friends of mine.
Yeah.
I know those cats, man. Us and Byzantine came up together at Marshall University. Was where we both started, and I met them when they were first band, and we've known each other since the beginning of both our bands. They're great guys.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Chris.
Wonderful people, and they're just. They're just genuine people, and I've known them forever. But we came up in West Virginia. Sean, I, and Tommy are all from the same tiny little town in West Virginia, where the Mothman prophecies and all that stuff happened.
Okay.
But now we live in Columbus now. We moved to Columbus, Ohio, because the first time we played there, it was like a music scene. There's a club with lights, and there's an industrial band and a punk band playing, and it was like there was hundreds and hundreds of people at these clubs, and it was the first time that we'd seen a real crazy music scene.
Yeah. Well, coming from West Virginia, because, now you guys are only the third band I know from there. I know you guys, Byzantine, and Zao, I think, is from...
right on.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you relocated to Columbus. I was just there for Sonic Temple Festival, and it was...
I did live about 10 minutes from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so, I'm guessing where you guys are located now, the scene there is amazing. I just interviewed a local band from there called Rat Attack. And
yeah, I know who those guys are. I went and saw them at the Big Room in Columbus.
Really?
Those guys... And what's the Cousin Simple is this band that's blowing my mind out of Columbus, Ohio. They're young dudes, and I went and saw them live, and just blew me away. There's a whole other scene that I had no idea about. It's like the CD 101 bands and the kind of the alt rock and indie rock stuff. And I went and saw Rat Attack and Cousin Simple, and it just blew me away. I was like, these bands are incredible. Yeah. There's a band called Girl Fox. It's really good, but it's a totally different scene than the rock and metal scene.
Okay.
And it's thriving, and that Cousin Simple band is going to do something special, I think.
I wonder what it is about Columbus, Ohio, that like has such a great metal scene. I think this band called Olathe is really good. Ringworm is from there, and I mean, if you want to go back in history, fucking Nine Inch Nails is from there.
Right on. We got Starset that came out of there. Red Sun Rising's from Ohio.
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, there's just a lot of really cool stuff. Like one of the coolest studios in the country is my best friend runs at Sonic Lounge Studios. There's a big music scene in Columbus, and the talent pool there is incredible. Yeah, I mean, I can't, like, just working in the studio and getting out and seeing all these bands. It's like I watch bands and people are like, oh, the local bands. It's like these bands are as good as any damn band on the planet. And
it's incredible. I mean, I guess it's very easy to start a band there, right? It seems like everybody's going to Ohio instead of LA now.
Yeah, well, it's the weather's not as nice, but it doesn't cost as much to live out there. So, there's a lot of things going on in Ohio, and I mean, I've seen some, like I said, I saw Starset just explode. Red Sun Rising's from Akron. Who else? 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots is from Columbus, and just one of the biggest bands in the world right now. I walked into the studio, and they were in there recording that song Ride, and I knew when I heard it, I go, this one's going to be big. These guys are going somewhere.
I remember seeing Starset open for Lacuna Coil and Devil You Know, now titled Light the Torch, and like it was before they had like so much production, and like everybody was saying that band's going to be huge.
They are, and I know the drummer the drummer was actually in on our last recording session. He's a good friend of ours. The singer Dustin for Starset's brilliant dude. He's a very smart guy, and his whole vision has come to light, and he knew what he was doing. And
didn't he work for NASA?
Yes, he did. Yeah, I think he's an actual rocket scientist. But he had this vision, and he put it together, and it took off. And really proud of him, and he put Columbus back on the map, and we're good friends with those guys, and it's always cool to see, bands have success and your friends doing things that are important in the music scene. It's really cool to see.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. It's going to be an awesome show tonight. Is there just anything else you would like to promote with Bobaflex in terms of tours, or when can we be expecting the new record? This tour's 2 weeks, and then we head out to the West Coast for 5 weeks, and then we go to Canada after that, and then we have October off to finish writing and recording the record. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Some changes coming, but I'll keep you guys posted, and I promise you the new music's going to rock. Bet it will. Well, thank you so much, Marty.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, everybody, Marty of Bobaflex. New music coming very soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.